the YouTube, where can one access that? Will you?
Yeah, I'll send out the links, and so everyone can have a look at them and review what was done and said on on the previous sessions. But they are available on YouTube on the Wisdoms channel, Public Wisdoms channel. But I'll get the links out so everyone can have a look at that. I don't know if you guys have seen. I just posted on the chat group a little article that I found talking about time and getting out, and I'll put the link up there. So for those of you who didn't see it, it's a forest therapy expert researcher in Chiba University of Japan found that people who spend 40 minutes walking in a cedar forest had lower levels of stress hormone cortisol, which is involved in blood pressure and immune system function, compared when they spend 40 minutes walking in a lab. Spending time in the forest induces a state of physiologic relaxation. So there you go. So absolutely important to get out into nature and the sun.
And Ivan, if I can come back to you on your Zoom day yesterday, does this hold a vision of the future for you? So how did you feel about operating this way over the day, almost the whole day on Zoom? And do you see that going to happen more and more going forward after this 21-day cycle or whenever it finishes?
Trev, yeah, look, for me, I think it has to be the way of the future. I mean, interestingly enough, yesterday evening, my daughter got on Zoom with a bunch of her friends, and they were playing 30 seconds over Zoom. So, they were entertaining themselves, in a manner that they would have done as a group around the table. They were doing on Zoom as well. So I absolutely think it's, it just has so many advantages. Yes, you can record it, which is great if you need a record of what you're doing. You can simply just use it as a social interaction tool, and makes life a whole lot easier. I mean, instead of somebody sitting in a meeting having to take minutes and remember what was said and try and type something up later on the computer and email it out, you've got the recording, and it's probably going to be a lot more accurate because it's not dependent on somebody's memory. So I think the benefits are massive, not to mention the ability to operate from an environment that you're organized and comfortable in. You're not having to pick up things and move them to different locations and drive there and all those sorts of things. So I think it has.
Yeah, Ivan, I agree with you. To me, at my age, this is the new physical distancing. This communication, to me, is going to be better in many ways than getting together face to face. And I've always been a face to face person, etc., etc. But this technology for me is actually, I'm glad you guys have involved me and I've been exposed to it. I'm actually really enjoying it.
You know what, I agree with you there, Guy. As Ivan was talking, I was suddenly thinking about his daughter. I mean, think of all the benefits of that, and that is how much money they're saving, the safety of being off the roads, and when you talk of face-to-face versus this, look how close we are. I mean, each time you put that funny thing that you've got there, I move back. Have you seen that? You see now. So there's still. I mean, you presenting me with a conundrum here, because I have a social block to cigarette smokers, especially when they blow smoke in my face. And I'm saying, well, first of all, let me concentrate on Ivan's daughter. Safety factor, bringing people together, perhaps over distance, playing 30 seconds, saving petrol, and you at least know that they're safe. Are these advantages? Are they disadvantages? Later on they can get together in groups, but this keeps people together without them having facing the dangers.
And when they drink, they can drink and drive. Drink and don't have to drive.
Thank you very much. As long as it's not over your laptop, Cecile.
Yeah, well, yeah. Well, it's their own laptop.
Yes.
You know what I love about it is that because my youngest daughter yesterday, she had a cocktail party over Zoom. And she got all dressed up. It was like a proper party. She went and they all had their glass of wine. So sorry, there was some wine involved. But it was a proper cocktail party. I could hear laughter and everything happening. And I think what I take out of that, besides the advantages, is that even in the midst of difficulties, people are being innovative. People are choosing to make the best of a difficult situation. And there's all these kinds of invites going out and out now, we have a party here. And as you say, Ivan, Claire doing 30 seconds. And to me, it's incredibly encouraging that, people are choosing to make the best out of difficult situations and actually making it fun.
Yeah, I think absolutely, and I think that one of the other things one can do, you talk about laptops and cell phones. Those screens are small, so why not hook up your laptop to your big screen TV and then have the Zoom meeting on the big screen TV. I mean, it gives you additional ambiance and interaction. You can see what's going on, and the other people, rather than winding up with these tiny little icons dotted on a small screen. You can put it on a nice big screen, or even on a projector if you have one. If you think about it, I mean, you could rig it up on your projector and project it on a wall or a sheet up on a wall, and you've got now this room full of people. I think it's a very interesting way, because I mean, one of the chats I was having with my daughter, on Thursday. She was saying, this shutdown, it's going to really restrict me and limit me. I love to go these different places and interact with different people to get inspiration and stimulation and those sorts of things. And I said to her, but you can do that. It's just a mindset shift. All you've got to do is say, I've just got to change my mindset, and I've got that environment. I mean, this is what we've got here. We're interacting with different people. We're looking for inspiration. We're looking for ideas, different thoughts, different ways of thinking, and all it is just a simple adaptation. And people can adapt if they allow themselves to. And I think that's the key. Is too many people are stuck in their rut of the ways they're doing things, and they don't want to adapt, or they don't think they can adapt. But it's. I mean, my one business partner. My one business partner has a saying, and that is, nothing keeps on changing. Everything keeps on changing. Trevor's waving at me, so I'm sure he wants to say something.
I've forgotten what I was going to say because you went on talking too long. Yeah.
Well, I still have to learn how to conduct the Zoom meeting. I know how to get into a Zoom meeting, but in the next 3 days, I will also learn how to do Zoom meetings. And I just also thinking, we speak to my mom that lives in Jeffreys Bay. All 4 of our kids speak to her individually every Sunday for an hour. So I was thinking that's the first thing that I need to do, learn how to actually be the host of the Zoom meeting. And then all 4 of us can talk to her together, because she's feeling very isolated in the retirement village. She lives in her own house in the retirement village, but they have strict instructions not even to leave their houses in the retirement village. So to her, it's kind of really cabin fever, because she also likes out and about.
If I can come in there, Ivan, that's a great idea. Maybe over the period of time in this forum of ours, we should allow each one of the individuals to just play around as being a host for a session, so they get used to what the host function is, and that can help each one of the individuals. I don't know if that's an idea. We should talk about that afterwards. But Ivan, what I wanted to say, as you were talking, I was wondering, are we in front of the curve or are we behind the curve when it comes to this technology? What's your thoughts?
Jeb, look, I don't think we're in front of the curve. I think, you know, quite a few people are around. I mean, it's a popular mechanism of communicating. So I don't think we're ahead of the curve in any way, but I do think that what we're trying to do perhaps is a bit different to what it's been used for traditionally. So
what are we trying to do? Just remind me, because I woke up late this morning. I can't remember. What are we trying to do?
Well, I think we're trying to create a community that is actually going to get into how do we adapt, how do we change, how do we develop, how do we improve on the situations that we're finding ourselves in, how do we take advantage of these technologies, not simply just to communicate, just to have a meeting, to say hi to a friend. It's more about, you know, as we put out there, you know, creating this tribe, our tribe of people who are hopefully thinking differently and thinking innovatively about ways to maximize this for our own businesses. And I think, you know, we really need to get into those kind of discussions in some of our future sessions. How does my business change? How does your business change? How does Cecile's business change? What are we going to change? How are we going to change? Where are we currently finding stumbling blocks, roadblocks, which other members might help us to flip completely and find a completely different way of thinking about our businesses and how we can adapt in this changed environment. So let me stop there. I see guys waving fingers at me, but I also think maybe we must try and just get Jasper on. He's the only one who hasn't had a chance to even say good morning to us yet. So, Guy, if you don't mind, we can just let Jasper and then we'll come back to you.
All right. The reason I switched my video off is I'm busy with breakfast, and I've got my lockdown look on, so I'm going to switch off again. But no, I think it's a good idea. This I didn't have time yesterday for the same reason. I was with Ivan on the Zoom, and beforehand I had to sort out a few things. But I think this is going to become the new normal, and I think the fact that right now we talk to each other via computer, but I could also be anywhere on the road afterwards, and I can talk to you on my cell phone. And as long as the big issue will always be data, but I think it will become more and more freely available. So yeah, like Ivan, I had a very normal day yesterday after the meetings, and then out of the meeting came a very interesting decision of how do we make the community bank relevant in these difficult times. And I think one of the, over and above a brilliant session that Jason did just to make us aware of all the possible things that can go wrong and how do you mitigate it, which make me feel very comfortable that we're in front of you know, the edge of the front of the trend on this whole thing. But we are creating a compassion fund in GIG, so we still have to make our rules around it. And then the bank itself has then donated the first 10,000. But what I enjoyed yesterday was the fact that you know, you do sometimes a whole lot of things because you just had that sense it needs to be in place, but nobody's using it. Like the Section 18A certificate thing that we have for the chamber. And I spent a lot of time and money on it, and we had no physical value out of it yet. But yesterday, out of the decision, we could immediately implement it, and by last night, the first money was paid in, and we can now start issuing certificates. And what I'm excited about, I also had a long chat with Gavin yesterday, and he was very excited with what's busy happening. And I know Ivan, you and Dawn and Alex and them had that long work session. But I was just reflecting last night to say, apart from the challenge outside in the economy, I'm actually at a very good space in my own head with how GIG, the chamber, the culture that we've tried to put in place, and we often can't verbalize it correctly, but we are creating a kind of culture that says, listen, we're constantly creating the pie bigger. We're learning how to bake better pies. The world is abundant. And with the skills that we now have in our teams, and I'm looking at the team that worked with Gavin on the exhibition, what you guys are doing here, your team, I mean, your team is the result of what? 20 years of getting to know each other and being in each other's hair and stuff like that. And now over the last 3 years, or the lack of hair, and in the last 3 years, is almost now the merge of the two teams, the team that I created with the GIG team, and the New Wisdoms team. And I believe this exhibition thing is now almost becoming that focus point that bring a lot of things together very fast. Yeah, so I think the word of encouragement is just keep doing what is in front of you right now to do. Don't worry too much about the things that you can't do. And like Lee says, make fun of the small things. Now that we can't go to the gym, I'm trying to keep up my discovery points during this time. And yesterday I figured out a way to do 30 minutes of high intensity workout here in my backyard. And it worked. So all in all, I feel very chuffed. Life is good, and I like Lee. We also have the whole family with us under lockdown. My son Yaku moved in. So here we have 4 generations. So my grandkids, my son, us, and grandma and grandpa. So I'm actually considering myself blessed right now. So yeah, that's my contribution for the day.
Wow, Jasper, that's so lucky to have all the generations together.
Yes, it is.
Great, Guy. You were waving fingers at me. I think it was the index finger, not the middle finger. Just before Jasper came on. Do you want to have a
just 15 seconds?
Yeah, sure. Go for it.
I like the word that Jasper used, culture. This is becoming a new culture. For me, it's about a whole lot of new questioning, and what's good about it, we can actually eyeball each other, as opposed to be at distance in a conference room. And the other one, I'm becoming a better listener, and hopefully will become a better communicator. So that was 18 seconds.
Well done, Guy. Thanks. Yeah, talking about that, we are already sort of 8 minutes past the half hour. I'm not sure whether we want to carry on a bit or whether we're going to wrap up. Trev, back to you.
Yeah, we cut it short, but I know why Guy's becoming a better listener is because you mute him every time he opens his mouth, which is very good. So keep control of the process, Ivan. And secondly, I was actually thinking about this timing, and Gary Vaynerchuk seems to average around an hour and 5 minutes, an hour and 10 minutes in his sort of discussions. But I think what we should do is try and keep this short and sharp, anywhere between 30 minutes. And if it does roll over like it has now for another 5-10 minutes, it's because someone like Jasper came in a little bit later and added in his inputs. And that's going to happen as we go. But I think we're in somewhere in the ballpark of between 30 minutes to max an hour. If it goes over that, I think we'll tire people out. The shorter, sharper, the better. But we're testing, so we're experimenting. That's my input.
Great, thanks, Trev. Lee, I think if you want to maybe just have a quick wrap-up comment, and then we can just shoot through the remaining people just to say their last 15 seconds, Guy, not 18 seconds, please, and then we can end off the call in a minute or two.
Yeah, I guess just reflecting on our conversations, Cecile, I really appreciate you starting off with the story of sitting in the sun, because I think that really set the tone for us recognizing the preciousness of the moment. And then just to add on to that, also in the article that I wrote, and I think it's come up in the discussions, is, what are our priorities? Stephen Covey uses the illustration of the rocks in the jar. And I do think this is an opportunity for us to evaluate, to assess, to think through what is important. And I think Jasper raised that in terms of realizing that even some of the rocks that have been put in place prior to this, that you kind of wonder, well, is that any value? That now in unusual circumstances, we're starting to see that past decisions are starting to bear fruit. So yeah, and then tomorrow I think I'd like to focus on what Guy raised, which we had already spoken about yesterday, is what are some good questions? If we are going to be good communicators, what are some good questions we can ask? So that's what I'll post after this.
Great, thanks, Lee. Cecile, do you want to just have a wrap-up comment?
Tomorrow, I promise tomorrow I'll listen a lot, because I talk too much anyway. So I will listen to what are the good questions that one has to ask. And maybe today will be yesterday was a normal work day for me, completely normal work day. But today, besides some housework, my husband and I, I'm gonna map out what we want to do in the next 21 days, what we want to get done around the house. And also talk to, use Zoom, learn how to use Zoom. And and it will be nice to talk to you guys again tomorrow for a little half an hour. And I was thinking, I'm jealous of all of you with your families. But then I also thought maybe I will spare my husband that, because we've also got a daughter and 2 grandchildren, and they're noisy and fighty and whatever, and then they get on Sven's nerves after 8 hours with them, and then so it's maybe better for us just to be alone by ourselves for this next 21 days.
Great, thanks, Cecile. Jasper, final word from you?
Nothing to add. And I think you guys are onto a good thing. I'm not sure whether it should be a 7-day-a-week thing, or maybe just a week, 5-day-a-week thing. But I mean, it's your program. But excuse me when I can't participate, because like tomorrow I won't be there. We're busy with a church thing that's also on Zoom.
Right, thanks, Jasper. Guy?
Yeah, sorry guys, I also have our church service at 8 o'clock tomorrow morning, because that's the time that they have the church service. So I will also not be there tomorrow. Thanks for reminding me, Jasper.
If I can just come in there, I assume these church services are going to be online. And it would be interesting to see how many people participate, and if you can give us feedback, what sort of systems are they doing, what sort of numbers, that's interesting feedback. And if I can just throw one other thing, I think, Ivan, something that you said stimulated me to, we should go and research how many people are using Zoom, who's using it most effectively, get a couple of 1, 2, 3 great examples, and perhaps share some of those, because I think this is all around this foundation of Zoom as a platform to help us connect with passionate people wanting to make a difference all around the world.
All right, Guy.
I'm good. Thanks, folks. Good chatting. See you tomorrow.
Great, good. Okay, I'm just going to say thanks, everybody. And look forward to those of you who can make it tomorrow. And if not tomorrow, we'll see you on Monday. Cheers all.
Cheerio, bye.